Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough, yes, of Hearts of Iron 3's Black Ice. And we're playing as the United States, and we have to distribute some research points here. Slots. Okay, let's do our medium armor and our light armor. Without high popularity, we will also do armored car designs. We'll see how long high popularity stays. I would say for most of this time period, FDR and the Democrats are staying as in high popularity. Okay, so we've got... Okay, we can do this. That, switching that over, and aero engine is also grayed out. Okay. Well, no, we're not trading with Luxembourg, sorry. That's why I think this system is silly. Or Luxembourg was, for its size of a nation, it was fairly well industrialized, but okay, submarine, New Zealand, okay. Maybe medium bomber prototypes. Cruiser, anti-aircraft artillery. Paratrooper activation, very nice. Well, it's a little early for jungle warfare, but we could start on some desert warfare. Equipment and single engine research, okay. Mm-hmm. I was wondering, can the U.S. kick out Biden and Kamala and do elections now? No, we cannot. Not in a practical sense. We can impeach. You are only supposed to impeach for high crimes. Though the trial, the impeachment happens in the House of Representatives. Right now, majority-controlled Democrat. And then the trial happens in the Senate. It's the senators try him. Trump was impeached in the House twice. Both trials failed in the Senate, and you have to go through the trial in the Senate to be removed. I suspect highly, not a guarantee. Well, one, I highly suspect that the Republicans will win the House. A lot of the Republicans will want to impeach Biden. I think there's a bunch of Republicans who will be afraid to impeach Biden, and they're going to impeach Biden over Ukraine and Hunter Biden earlier, not Ukraine today, but what they did when Obama was president. I think Biden will be impeached, but I don't think the Senate will may not even. Well, I think they sort of have to try if the House impeaches, but they could just simply vote to acquit or whatever. So it's not. It's a theoretical possibility, but you don't do elections. See, that's the one thing you don't do. So what would happen is if you get rid of Biden, then Kamala becomes president. And then you get rid of Kamala, then whoever the Speaker of the House becomes president. So you don't do a new election. So it would be the Speaker of the House that would be the head kind of things. But all of our elections are scheduled in the Constitution as when they happen. Okay, anti-air ignition advance. That I believe is here. We'll do so. Field artillery brigades. Hamilton Harris. Yeah. I don't know if you listen to her speeches. She says things like Russia invade Ukraine. Russia's a bigger country or something weird statements that. I don't know. We've improved our radar. Good. Now it opens up all of these for destroyers, cruisers, and others. Fighter advance. That would be here, I think. Yeah, I know we're behind, but I do want to get these radars going here. Yeah, Hunter Biden got a lot of money from Ukraine. I managed to find a video from one of Hunter Biden's parties he done when he was in Ukraine. Smelled like corruption. Yeah, no, that was corrupt. And you even had Joe Biden saying, he said, you fire that prosecutor now or before I go home, or you won't get the money that the U.S. government says they're going to get to you. So his illegal corruption was through the U.S. governmental process, we allocated money for Ukraine. Biden, as vice president, is sitting somewhere in Ukraine, presumably Kiev, but I don't know where, and he tells them to fire the prosecutor who's looking into Hunter Biden, or you won't get the U.S. government money. Okay? He said that. It's on videotape. That is a crime because it did not state anywhere in the conditions, like when Congress and whatever passes like they did the $40 billion for Ukraine now, goes through and passes the thing. They never said conditions are you must do this or this other thing. It was never in there, and it was a private thing. And Biden said this publicly. So unless he was lying, which he wasn't, so that is a corrupt act. It is using your government office for personal gain, and it's clear, and it's corrupt, and he should have been prosecuted for it. Our Justice Department is politically left. It is unwilling to go after a Democrat on those kinds of things. So they didn't. I don't think the Justice Department wants to go after them, but I think, you don't have to do it. All you have to do is hold a few hearings in Congress and then vote to impeach. I think almost every one of there will be a bunch of new Republican members of Congress will want to impeach Biden. And there are a probably a minority of Republicans that want to impeach Biden. I think maybe they may be able to push all the Republicans to impeach Biden. It'll be just like Trump and be like, well, whatever. And things will just go on. Nothing will really change other than Biden will be impeached, and maybe multiple times. Battle cruiser class. I don't know if we're planning on building it like I keep saying, but I figured we could afford to research them. Okay, and heavy AA guns. That is artillery, I believe. Okay. Here. You can like Biden, you can hate Biden, but I do believe from his own statements, so this isn't me conjecturing or what proofs I have. I'm just going at what the hell he said. Now I have to wonder once he's impeached. Kamala Harris hates Biden, and Biden and Mrs. Biden hate Kamala. I think Kamala may try to push whatever amendment that they did after Wilson, forget which number, for incapacitated presidents, unfit for office, and try to remove Biden that way as being mentally not capable of doing the job to get her in as president. I don't know that that would be better, certainly be different. And hey, we'd have the first Indian American president. Drop tanks sound like a good thing to get. Ford Motor strike. Okay, the UAW's next target was the Ford Motor Company, which had a long resisted unionization. Ford manager Henry Bennett used brute force to keep the union out of Ford, and his Ford Service Department was set up as an internal security, intimidation, and espionage unit within the company. It was not reluctant to use violence against union organizers and sympathizers. Battle of the Overpass. It took until 1941 for Ford to agree to collective bargaining agreement with the U.A.W. Okay, but yeah, that regenerable thingy we're having here, I hate those. When Joe isn't able to do his job, he's too senile for that. Kamala, we get in, she would be the first. Well, but she's half. She's only half black. Her other half is Indian. I believe it's her mother. Am not, correct me if I'm wrong. Her mother is Indian, I believe, from Jamaica, I believe. Commonwealth Indian or whatever you want to call that. West Indian. I don't know. Twin engines. For here, okay, fuel tanks. Mm. Well, we're going to use some of those, but let's look over here. Okay, winning the Battle of Detroit. Fuselage aerodynamics. That is here. Stop that. Now, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the two leading black, if you will, Detroit Bay City, yeah. Hello, Night Sergeant Huntman. How you doing today? I don't know. The two leading black elected politicians so far being Barack Obama and Kamala Harris. Neither of them, to the best of my knowledge, has any significant family history as being a black American. Find that interesting because Obama's father was Kenyan, and I think Kamala Harris's father, if I'm not mistaken, because I believe her mother is Indian, but her father is Jamaican. I mean, she and Barack and her were both born in America. They're both Americans. I'm not trying to say they're not Americans. They're both Americans. They're both black, yes, but neither of them have a long family history and are culturally not part of black America. At least that's how I would say it, because Obama grew up in Indonesia as a young child. You get a lot of enculturated as a young child. He's either Indonesia or Hawaii for Obama. And so it's not within black communities. And you see I don't know as well Kamala's background, but I believe it is also, her father was like a university professor. And I think moved around quite a bit, I think. Sorry if I'm getting some of these wrong. No, I don't think Obama was born in Kenya. No, I really don't believe so. I don't have the evidence, but I think they did produce a birth certificate of birth in Hawaii and a newspaper announcement of his birth way back then in Hawaii as well. So he was born in the United States. Kamala was also born in the United States, but again, I believe both of her parents are of sort of British Commonwealth legacy, as opposed to a longer history of American cultural background, if you will. Okay, we've got a lot of extra supply, so what we're going to do is we're going to reduce that a bit. We're not going to go there you go. So because he ain't from African hood or America's hood. Yeah, that's sort of what I mean, Night Sergeant Huntman. And again, everybody, I don't care about people's skin color. I'm a culturalist. Individuals are individuals, absolutely. Every individual is an individual. But as large groups of people, I look at their culture. And that is what I think is a determining factor. It's, you can see, the different cultures between, shall we say, the Anglo culture of England and, say, the Russian culture. They're both white people, but they're very different cultures. And you can look at, say, the different culture between Japan and Vietnam. Yeah, they're both Asian peoples. They're both Asian cultures, but they're very different cultures if you look at them. And the way you walk around a Japanese city, you walk around a Vietnamese city, they're very different. And it's mainly because of culture. So I'm a culturalist. I try to look at large groups of people. And I find it interesting that the two leading elected black officials in America, neither of them come out of the American black communities. And there's different communities. There's communities in Chicago or Detroit, or there's black communities in Louisiana. And they're going to be different black communities. And I don't know all the nuances of Louisiana culture at all, white, black, or indifferent, or whatever. But I know, but I know they're different than black culture up in here, and I know there's connections between them. And I'm not an expert, but I know there are things, and there's urban black communities and there's rural black communities within America, and they're different. and I know all that stuff. And again, I don't know all the nuances, all the different cultures, variances of of all the different peoples in this parts of America. Because again, I'm from out here. You know, the communities are different out here than they are here. So Japanese, yeah. Well, okay, yeah, genetics, but see, I don't think genetics are a primary determiner, and I think you look at it, Vietnamese are sort of, I guess, at least to me, look, and I'm not a geneticist, but look more Han Chinese than they do Kramer or whatever, Cambodian interpiece, because I think they're sort of peoples that have migrated out of China down in here, which are similar to people that migrated out to here, I believe. So, yeah, I know they didn't find the original Rhaegar. I know, but I I don't believe that he was born outside of the U.S., and it doesn't matter at this point. But it does matter where you're raised. He was raised. Obama was raised for a good number of years out in Indonesia, and then the rest of his young life, to the best of my knowledge, is out in Hawaii, which has its own culture. And it wasn't until his college years, is my understanding, really, and it's maybe not entirely college years, but until he gets back into, American universities back on the mainland. And so, it affects you, where you're raised, who you grew up with, your attitudes, your values, all of that kind of stuff. Close air support, yeah, okay. No, I just find it's interesting that those two just, and they come from different paths. They come out of different backgrounds. I don't think Kamala Harris's parents were overly radical, where Obama's parents were both radicals of the left. Zero that's here. So yeah, I just that's sort of interesting. I find, and I'm not sure what it says. I don't know whether it's just random dice rolls that they were at the right place at the right time to get elected, or whether there's something deeper in it. I don't know. Germany, Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact. Okay, well, the war in Europe is about ready to start. Aircraft prototype evaluation has advanced. That is here. Okay, what do we got? Okay, the Yorktown. A bunch of other factories have been deployed. Well, we're not even going to see these until May 42. The Intrepid and the Franklin. I do think carriers are the way to go. We're going to unclick CAGs for the moment. We'll do two CAGless. We will get CAGs built, but I want to get these really long production. That would give us 6 carriers. We got the Enterprise and what's up here. The Yorktown will be built sooner. We'll have some. Well, we could do some CVLs. Yeah, let's do 3 CVLs. And then we'll do 2 battleships. Pull these down to the bottom. We got that. Okay, well, we're going to let's see. We have okay. That's going to be the cruiser. Okay, so let's get this. Let's drop this here. You can come into there, and let's give these guys some light cruiser protection. Do we want Halsey or? Yeah, Halsey's all right with that, I think. Division HQ, Division Headquarters Advance. Okay, whatever. Say, however say that. Yeah, we'll let that continue. No, what's? Oh, that's this over here. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we'll yeah, we can do Court H headquarters. Military preparation, which is another one over here. Yes. Okay, well, let's do brigade structures. Ordering the U.S. or aircraft for U.S.S. Hornet. Okay, well, I guess we can do this. Okay, let's read this. Why is this an event? Okay, USS Hornet CV-8, the seventh ship to carry the name Hornet, was a Yorktown-class aircraft carrier of the United States during World War II Pacific Theater. She launched the Doolittle raid on Tokyo and participated in the Battle of Midway and the Buen Faisi Tonolai raid. Don't know that. In the Solomon Islands campaign, she was involved in the capture and the defense of Guadalcanal and the Battle of Santa Cruz Island, where she was irreparably damaged and sunk. The Hornet was in service for a year and 6 days and was the last U.S. fleet carrier ever sunk by enemy fire. For these actions, she was awarded 4 service stars, a citation for the Doolittle raid, and her torpedo squadron 8 received the Presidential Unit Citation for extraordinary heroism at the Battle of Midway. So lose medal, get U.S.A. Hornet build text. Okay. Okay, so we now have the Hornet. It's going to be a fake ship that'll come through our system here. We'll move it to the top to get it through there, hopefully cheaply, and out the other side. Okay, motorized HQs advance. That would be here. Paratrooper HQs, that would be useful. And land-based air warning radar has advanced. Okay, well, once we get into 1940, more official, or actually, we need to build some radars in places like, well, I don't know, Hawaii. Yeah, we'll let that continue. The U.S. gets new orders from France. We can accept it, no need. Yep, we'll do that. Now, this is about the time, September, when the war kicks off. Ah, okay, government reorganization. Yeah, we're going to do that. Danziger War, last chance for peace. Pact concluded. Canada is in there. We've lost the effects of high popularity and mobile firepower focus has advanced. Long button, that's the button we want. But now we don't have as much research available. So, okay, U.S.A. gets paid for second shipment. France, okay, so we get some money, some supplies. We get 2 light aircraft factories in Buffalo, an anti-aircraft gun in Buffalo, not that we need that. Right, okay, the Yorktown is launched, very good. Export of copper to who? Greece, no thank you. Japan is going to go to war with who? I don't know. Ooh, this is going to be brutal. You understand what I think is going to happen here? What I think is going to happen is Japan, because it's joined the Axis so early, it's going to be at war with the British and the French. That will be interesting. Let's do HQs. Tactical operational command. So that's going to be an interesting thing to. All these 42s we've achieved, and they're too far in advance to continue now. Army headquarters, 1930. That's way out of date. We'll get that going. Let's see. We've got a lot of these still to research. We can do airborne assault tactics. That might be useful. Let's do reconnaissance. There we go. This is going to be interesting to see. Okay. President, we have been subject to embargo by Germany. Okay. Mobile defense. One of these here. Here. 20 light aircraft. Okay. South Africa joins the Allies. Surge of volunteers. Well, very good. Cuba. Chinese plus Indian manpower would be a nightmare if properly brought together. Hello, Finnegan. Well, you do know right now the India and China are not getting along, to say the least. They're almost at war with each other. I mean, there's battles going on the border between, well, the Tibetan border that India occupies, that China occupies, that is along, the Indian border, and Even Bhutan, asking for a while, got some Indian troops to sort of push back some Chinese that were building a road into an unasked for road being built into Bhutan. So I don't see India and China getting along. They're also culturally very different. They're very different. Earlier we were talking about the difference between the Japanese culture and the Vietnamese culture, but shall we say the Orient, this part of the world, versus I don't know if you want to go South Asia or whatever you want to call this part of the world. They're very different culturally. Yeah, I know this is Hindu, and Hinduism sprouted Buddhism, and Buddhism is spread across here. And I get a lot of the cultural contacts and all, but yeah, they're very different. Very different. Okay, looks like the Germans are pushing into Poland pretty heavily now. Okay, we're going to slow this up a little bit now that it's getting more. Republic of China Nanjing has mobilized gun ability for engine airplanes has advanced. So, okay. Canada. Yes, you can have a submarine help with being built. Yes, you can have some energy, Denmark. Uniface, common origin, but a hell of a lot of divergence in faith is not entirely. No. I was just talking. Religion is a element of culture. The word culture comes out of the word cult, which is a religious connotation. But I was just talking about the cultural contacts. Basically, until the modern age, you had very little cultural contact. Let's go over to this. Across this sort of line where I'm drawing, this was an extreme barrier. You either came down along the coast, whether on the on land or the water, and around this way. If you're coming from China, or you're coming sort of out and around sort of Silk Road routes around this way, there is or was, I should say, very little contact across Tibet into India and back and forth. It was extremely little. They had very little contact between them. I'm sure that there's more contact between, say, India and China than there was, say, between China and ancient Rome. But there probably wasn't too much more contact between India and, say, ancient Iran. These are probably running about a similar level of contact. I'm just, somebody who, again, I'm talking well pre-modern time periods here. It's really the sort of Mongol invasion that puts a lot of contact into India, and as the name sort of morphs and changes, they sort of morph and change. The Mughals of India, I believe, are sort of Mongol interlopers, or however you want to define that relationship. But instead of watching Poland being taken down, we've slowed up. Slightly more manageable level here of watching. Okay, machine gun cannon combo has advanced. On Division HQs, which, yes, this time it's this one over here. Artillery fuel tanks. Got greater range. To be honest, I never have your patience playing this long without going to war with someone. Yeah, it is a slow build-up. That's one of my motivations for, not the only and not even the primary, for Third Reich Events, the mod, in that it's helps make the build-up to the war more interesting. More events, more decisions to make. I'm just in. Okay, who wants this? Canada. How much more molybdenum do we currently? We're at level 2 surplus. We're not really building much armor. We're not building any armor right now. Our materials we got plenty of. Okay, we'll sell this out. Maybe it'll help Canada. But currently we can see in actual building we are finishing up some heavy industry. I don't know whether I should really be pumping out more of that at this point or not. I just don't know, people. I've not played America before. We've almost got the Enterprise good. We're going through a bunch of these CVLs, or the Independence class. Some more cruisers, get these things done. Get into some battleships, because even these CVLs, which are a little bit faster build, that's going to be September 41, just before the war hit. The battleship, if it keeps going, is going to be March 43. If it doesn't get, pushed down, or, I mean, it's just 27% being done right here, but that's, 1952. It won't take that long. So, the U.S. was building, well, I think a bit more than this. I'm building more carriers right now. I know that. Yeah, see, it's the other lane. See them going in. New Zealand joins the Allies. Assault weapons advance, and these are the types of engineering assault weapons. Yeah, well, because we're trying to get through some of this. I used to a long, long time ago before Hoi 4, but anything is still the same, more, always better. The U.S., your whole thing is endless, constantly growing production to drown your enemies. Yeah, that's somewhat essentially the strategy for America, for sure. I'm just worried about the amount of ICs I'm going to have, and then am I going to have enough manpower to, when I really start trying to build divisions. How about building a large fleet of torpedo boats later on for coastal defense? We might. Um, yeah, I got coastal. Took me a second, but I got it. Um, we have to look at our priorities, Arno. Right now, like I say, I've never played this before, America. This seems awfully light on ICs. Consumer product orientation. Well, we can probably eventually change some of these laws once we go to war. That will probably help. We'll lose the pre-war levels of roads, rail, seaports, and airports, which will help. It's that 15% more ICs just there. Mining is at -15 also. So we're gonna get better than we are right now with ICs fairly quickly, hopefully. But so after that, so our priorities will be to build up. We got a bunch of destroyers, though they're older. They're Clemson class. They're not maybe better, more modern destroyers. We'll be building divisions to go in and hold places like the Philippines prior to the start of the war, and air power is sort of next. And we'll see what goes from there. I'm not sure much further down the road than that as plans. So very possibly some coast light torpedo boat forces. That seems like a good thing, but that is generally it's cheaper, true, less expensive and quick to build, so that's good as well. Let's build some unit training up. But we're doing anything to build up manpower at all. If I remember correctly, there was ways to affect this. Well, we can see here from technology, decisive battle doctrine, improved technology 44%, decisive battle doctrine 10%. Now we're right now at volunteer army, so it's down by 20% by that. Economic stage focus 3, we're at 15%. Mining will stay for the rest of the game at negative 10%, but agricultural industry continues to improve 15%. We have mass livestock, which means food available, so we can see right now we are at a volunteer army. That is the best we can do. We can get to various things to try to get conscription going, and right now our service length is 6 months. We can move it up to 3-year draft right now, but it'll reduce our when it happens our ICs by 4% and our money. So I haven't wanted to do that. And we're doing 6 months, which helps our ICs. So yeah, we'll see about that. But I'm sort of paying attention. It's not great. And I think we will end the episode here, not the live stream, but the episode. I want to thank you all watching. Really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Really do appreciate that. And post a comment. It is great to hear from you, see who's out there actually watching these videos, getting this far to the end. Thanks, everyone. See you next time for even more, yes, more Hearts of Iron.